Hey, this is Joe. In this video, we have some mirror damage. I won't mention any names on who damaged it, but it wasn't me. This is a 2023 Chevy Bolt EUV, and as you can see here, the mirror was whacked pretty hard. Luckily, there isn't too terribly much damage to the housing of the passenger mirror here. But if you look, the mirror has been taped, and there's a plastic bracket on the inside of the mirror that obviously has been broke. So we're going to take the mirror off, and we're going to see if we can disassemble the mirror and do some repairs to fix this. So in order to take the mirror off, which is bolted to the inside of the passenger door, we have to open up the door, and we have to take off the interior side panel. So let's go ahead and open up the car. I'm going to show you how we're going to pull the interior side panel, how we're going to unbolt the mirror, and then we'll get into disassembling the mirror assembly and seeing if we can fix it or if we have to order some parts in order to fix the mirror. So let's get started. Looking on the inside of the door panel, there's two screws, one underneath this cover and one underneath this cover. We have to remove those screws, and then the door panel is attached by some clips. All we have to do once we remove the screws is to pull the door panel away from the mounting clips and then lift the door panel up off there's a lip there where the window slides down inside the door, and you have to lift that the interior panel up off of that ledge. So what we need here is just a little pick, and if you reach in very gently, you can then pop off this little clip inside the door. There is a screw, or actually a bolt right there. Let's go ahead, reposition the camera, pop off this little plastic tab here, and then we can remove that tab, and I'll show you how we can pop the interior door panel off. Here we're looking on the inside. This is where you hold onto the door. When you pull the door shut, we reach in with our pick assembly here, and we can very gently remove this plastic cover, and in there will be another bolt that we can unscrew. So we have to unscrew this bolt, and we have to unscrew that bolt. So let's go ahead and get our tools and unscrew those two bolts, and then we can pop the interior door panel off. We have a quarter drive socket set here with a small extension, and we have a 7mm socket. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the 7mm socket, and there we have the screw or the bolt from the door panel. Let's put this off to the side. On the inside of the handhold here, there's another 7mm screw. And there's the second screw. Now we can reach under and pop the clips around the side of the door. And then if you look at the very top, then all we have to do is lift up on the door panel, and then that door panel is going to come loose. Once I started looking at the door panel here, we really don't have to disconnect any of the wires. you notice here there's a piece of plastic that goes around the upper portion of the door, and it goes around as window trim. All we have to do here is pop this one plastic piece right here, and if we pull this back, you'll see there's an electrical connector. This is for the mirror adjustment motor. So we're going to remove this connector, and then if you look, there's another 2 bolts right here, and that's to remove the passenger side mirror. So let's go ahead and pop that electrical connector on the motor. As we gently pull this panel away, you notice there's a little red clip. If we lift up on that clip, and on the side there's a little lever, if we push in on that lever, we can now very gently disconnect the electrical connector. Again, you don't want to force this, you don't want to break it. So all you have to do is lift up on the red tab and push in with your pick on this little tab right here, and the electrical connector will disconnect very easily. Try not to bend up your panel. Here, there's a little rubber boot that fits in to hold this panel up. Now we can get a socket and remove our bolts from the mirror, and the bolts are 10 millimeter. So let's go ahead and disconnect the bolt. There's 2 of them. Because we disconnected the electrical connector, all we have to do now is remove the last bolt, and we can pull the mirror away from the passenger door. And now what we have to do is jiggle. Oh, actually, looks like, yeah, there's one more. There's a 3rd bolt right here we have to remove. So there's 3 bolts on the mirror. And again, hang on to that mirror with your hand. We don't want to drop the mirror. Okay, we got all 3 bolts out. Now, as you see, we've removed the mirror. So we have the mirror removed, and you can see that the damage to the passenger mirror is the actual mirror portion of the glass has been damaged, and inside there's a plastic holder. So we're going to disassemble this now, and we're going to see how to fix this. So let's go in, take the mirror in, put it on the workbench, and we'll see what we have to do to disassemble this and see if we need any parts to fix this. I use some acetone and brake clean, but you can use Goop Off, acetone, brake clean, any type of a fairly powerful solvent to remove the tape. I used my fingernail and some of the cleaner in a rag to remove all the Scotch tape. Now it looks like I got really lucky here. If you look inside the mirror, this is the motor controlled adjuster, this plate right here, and that moves up and down, left and right to adjust the mirror. Luckily that was not damaged at all. And if you look really closely, you'll see there's 1, 2, and 3 wires on here. I disconnected the wires so I could pull the mirror off and clean it really well, and also be able to get a really good look inside the mirror to see what was there. If you're going to pull your wires, mark one of them with a piece of tape so you know where they go. This one over here on this side, there's a little wire connector. Be very gentle. I had to use a small screwdriver to pry this connector out, and there's a circuit board in there, so don't pull on that with the wires. You will damage the wires. Now again, we got really lucky here. If you look at the mirror, there's some indentations on this plastic plate that is attached to the mirror. And if you'll notice, there's 2 metal tabs. And those 2 metal tabs go over the top of this adjustable plate here that the motor controls. So there was nothing really damaged on the inside. So all I had to do is to take the mirror and push it down so those metal tabs will lock on to that cylindrical controller that moves the mirror left and right, up and down. So I got really lucky. Nothing was damaged. I got a couple of minor scratches where the wife scraped into whatever she hit. All in all, it just cost me about an hour or so of my time cleaning all the Scotch tape marks off of the mirror, cleaning up the mirror. And again, it's not too terribly bad. If I want to get really anal, I can get some touch-up paint and touch up these scratches. So now let's go ahead, take this out, and put this back on the car. To mount the mirror, we're just going to follow the procedures in reverse. Let's go ahead, put the mirror up on the door frame, and let's put the screws in. Let's go ahead and get the 7mm socket and tighten those bolts down. Now we have the bolts started. We can use the 10mm socket to tighten the mirror to the door frame. And we can take the electrical connector and we can reconnect that. Now what we can do is take the trim piece that goes around the metal window, and let's go ahead and mount that back on. And all this does is go underneath. There's a lip on this rubber seal. Make sure that the rubber seal goes slightly over that plastic trim piece. And then right here, you'll notice there's a plastic clip that goes in and clips in to the door frame. So let's just go through and make sure all those are sealed up and properly connected. Again, make sure the rubber seal goes over the outside piece of the plastic. The hardest part of mounting the interior door panel, first of all, the plastic piece that goes around the upper window trim. You want to make sure that that lip goes inside of this rubber strip. If not, you're not going to be able to get this piece over, and it goes all the way over into the gap up against the window. So you're going to have to put that in first, and you're going to have to lift it up and slightly angle it to get it in, and it's going to require some pushing to get this in. You want to make sure the locking pin goes through this grommet right here, and the best way to do that when the door panel is still slightly flexed out, you're going to take your finger and push that locking pin into this grommet and then push forward on this interior door panel. Again, this is the hardest part to get in. This trim piece has a lip on it, and it has to go all the way up against inside of the window. Once that's in, then all you have to do is take and push the plastic pin tabs into their respective holes, and then that will mount the interior door panel flush against the door frame. Let's go ahead and do that. Start at the upper edge and look inside behind the door panel. Find out where the hole in the pin is, and then line that up and tap that inside. And then as you work your way down, you can still see the panel is loose. And once you push all those pins in, the door panel is now on. The last thing we need to do is screw in the two screws right where the door opening mechanism is and where the handhold is on the interior door panel. Let's go ahead and do that. We now can take the 7mm bolt. Make sure your holes line up, which they should be if you mounted all the plastic fasteners into the door frame. And then all we have to do is tighten that screw up. Same thing is the case for the screw down in the handhold area here. Make sure the hole lines up. Take your fastener and the socket and go ahead and hand start that screw. Once that's tight, all we have to do now is to mount our plastic little decorative tabs, one inside here and one up where the door latch is. One thing we want to do before we wrap up this project is go ahead and electrically test the mirror to make sure it's still going to adjust. So let me run around to the inside of the car and we will test out the mirror movement. So as you saw, we tested the mirror, and the mirror moves up and down, left and right. We have a successful install. So hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.